Ladies and gentlemen, this case proves there really is a thin line between love and hate. I'm sorry. Not hate, but insanity. Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well in this crazy world we're living in. Today's case is one of those cases that will leave you wondering, what could have been if better decisions were made? So let's go ahead and get right into it. Tynesha Stewart, who was born in Houston, Texas, was a 19-year-old freshman at Texas A&M University in College Station, studying civil and chemical engineering. She began dating a guy named Timothy Wayne Shepard when she was 16 years old and a junior at Nimitz High School. They had a volatile relationship and she was reportedly afraid of him. Those close to her described him as jealous and controlling. She told her sister that he had choked her and threatened her life before. Okay, red flag. People, at the first sign of mental and physical abuse, hit the eject button. During her first semester at college, Timothy was apparently attending online courses at Bugaboo University because he was blowing up her phone every day. Of course, she started seeing somebody else while she was at college, and Tim stopped calling for a while after the first semester. But by February of 2007, he was back to blowing up her phone again. And she said she was even afraid to go back home to Houston for spring break because she thought he might follow her around. Well, she went home anyway, and she made plans to hang out with her friends. Listen, I understand wanting to go home, especially when you're a freshman. You know, you miss your friends and family, and you want to see them again. Early on the morning of March 15, 2007, Tim Shepard picked up Tynesha from the apartment of one of her friends. She left her cell phone behind with her friend and said she would be back later on that day. She never came back. And she never showed up for a concert she had plans to go to. Okay, I understand wanting to go back home and see your family and friends, but getting into a vehicle with Captain Crazy? Tynesha was reported missing on March 19, 2007, and police went to her ex-boyfriend, Timothy Wayne Shepard's apartment to question him. He said they got into an argument between 3 and 4 a.m. on March 15th, and she walked out of his apartment upset, carrying her cell phone, and this was the last time he had seen her. Let me give him my Josh Mankiewicz face. Her younger sister was the last person to speak to her. They spoke about 12 noon on March 15th, and Tynesha said that she was with Timothy. She never heard from her again. Timothy Shepard also did not participate in any of the search efforts. Listen, red flags are all over the place, okay? I'm sure the cops couldn't take 2 steps without tripping over a red flag. No one believes she just stormed out of his apartment at 3 a.m. with her cell phone, especially when her friend said she left her cell phone behind. So I'll let Mari take this one.
That was a lie.
On March 20th, police asked him to come down to the police station for questioning. When authorities checked his apartment, they discovered it had been cleaned with ammonia and bleach, and some parts had been freshly painted. But blood traces were found on the bathroom light switch and at the base of the toilet. He was questioned by the police and released. The next day, he spoke with Quanell X, a local community activist and leader of the Black Panther Party here in Houston, Texas. Quanell X has a history of being a liaison between the police and the African American community, and he had been involved in a search for Tynesha. He met with Tim, and the 2 men went to Tim's apartment, and Quanell X urged him to tell him what he knew. Tim began crying and said that he was afraid that he would get the death penalty. Eventually, he agreed to show Quanell X where he had put Tynesha's body. After speaking with his attorney, Tim contacted the police and led Quanell X and a police officer to a dumpster in the 14600 block of Ella Boulevard and said that he had put Tynesha's body there. No evidence could be recovered because by then the dumpster had been emptied. He was then arrested and confessed to Tynesha's murder after he got back to the station. He said he strangled her during an argument. He put her body in a plastic tote bag and left it in a dumpster. Following his arrest, Timothy made an unsuccessful attempt at suicide. Clearly, this guy has some demons. But wait, there's more. The police figured out that he didn't put Tynesha's body in that dumpster, but instead, he dismembered it and burned it on 2 barbecue grills on his balcony patio.
We return today to a Northwest Harris County apartment complex where it is now believed that Tynesha Stewart's ex-boyfriend dismembered and burned her remains in 2 outdoor grills. Timothy Shepard has reportedly confessed and is now charged with murder. 11 News reporter Carla Baguillarena spoke to neighbors who had been watching his suspicious behavior.
It's bizarre because
it kept neighbors guessing for days.
I never smelled anything like that in my life.
The smoke and odor coming out of the now boarded up apartment 224 was a mystery until now.
I never thought that, something like this could happen so close to home. I guess everyone does, but then, you realize, you never know who your neighbors are.
There are no remaining body parts.
In a rare weekend press conference, investigators said 27-year-old Tim Shepard confessed to strangling his ex-girlfriend, cutting up her body and burning it on 2 grills on his second-floor patio.
Someone called 911 on the evening of March 16th after the flames from the grills almost touched the roof of the balcony. But when police and firefighters arrived, Tim told them everything was fine. Nothing to see here.
Please disperse! Nothing to see here, please!
He reluctantly allowed a police officer and a firefighter inside the apartment. They didn't see a fire, but they did notice several pieces of meat, including rib bones, floating in the bathtub, and some burned chunks of meat on the stove in the kitchen. Neither of them say they saw anything they considered strange. Yeah, because meat and rib bones in a bathtub is not strange at all. It seems like these guys' shifts were about to end and they were ready to go home and didn't want to be bothered with the paperwork or something. A day or two after firefighters and policemen came to his apartment, a neighbor saw Timothy Shepard carrying a grill and a smoker to a nearby trash bin. Both grills were later found to be missing from Tim's balcony, and his neighbor never saw his own grill again. When police checked his garbage disposal after his arrest, they found fragments of bone and tooth enamel. They also found bone fragments with cut marks on them under his patio. They were too small or badly burned to yield any DNA or even for it to be certain that they were human. At Timothy Shepard's trial in October of 2008, he claimed to have strangled Tynesha Stewart after she attacked him with a knife. His attorney argued that it was a crime of passion and that he should be sentenced to no more than 20 years in prison. But he was convicted of murder and sentenced to the maximum term of 99 years in prison. You know, guys, it really doesn't get any sadder than this. A 19-year-old girl who was smart, who was at Texas A&M University, a high-level school, especially the engineering program. She had her whole future ahead of her. She never would have guessed that she would be killed, then chopped up, and barbecued. How many times do we have to see a person with ambition and goals subverted by a low-level person who drains the life force out of them? This guy didn't even have a job. Neighbors of his parents said that he came from a good family, quote unquote. His aunt said that Timothy lost it when he was a teen after he found out the man that raised him was his stepfather, not his biological father. Someone said that about this guy as well. I wonder if there's a correlation. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's free, okay? It's the best deal going. All right, we're done here.